Hello everyone. On today's episode of Meaningful Mondays with Neha, I have a very interesting person, Mr. Girish Subash, on my show. I'd be really interested to know his journey from a doctor to a successful entrepreneur. Well, guys, you're going to really enjoy this podcast. Watching, knowing, and understanding what can be differently done if you are not wanting to do something in your life that is going to be your regular way. So, without further ado, let's just jump into the conversation with him. Hi Girish, I'm so happy, so glad that you could make it and we are doing this conversation, and it was something very exciting for me, initially when I spoke to you about this. So without further ado, let's just jump into the conversation, Girish.
Sounds good, Neha. Thank you.
So tell me, now was medical, when you started off, with medicine, getting into the line of becoming a doctor, was it like a, choice, or was it like given because you come from a family of doctors?
You already answered my question. So you know how families of doctors are, especially in our generation. It is a little different. It's very difficult to break out of that society. Family of doctors, initially, as you would know also, they would have struggled quite a bit to enter that and become that family of doctors.
Correct. And be there today. Right.
So obviously, it makes a lot of sense for them, for the time and energy that the entire family has spent.
Right.
To ask us to follow in those footpaths.
Correct.
Today, after so long, it's been quite a while.
Yes.
So after so long, if I look back and think about it, would I do the same thing my parents did? I would not say absolutely not. I would say maybe.
Right.
But maybe not the way they portrayed it to us.
Right.
Not the way they taught it to us. We were asked to, me, my sister, my entire family.
Okay.
We have about 56 first cousins between my mother and father's side who are currently
That's like
doctors.
quite a big family, yeah.
And I'm the only one who's not.
Are you kidding me? Everybody is a doctor, huh?
Yes.
Fantastic, yeah. That's
and everyone's in Tamil Nadu, so if you need any help,
I know where to go.
I'm not asking my family members.
Okay, cool. But okay, so tell me one thing. So when you were decided that you were to study this, was it like okay, kai baar aisa hota na, mentally you're just prepared, you know that you have to do this, so you don't think of anything else. So were you mentally prepared, or were you okay ki nahi, I want to study, let me go ahead and do this?
So honestly, coming up from a slightly more affluent family, being able to do things the way I wanted and not having to think much about the future in general, it was easier to just follow the path which is led in front of you, right?
Okay.
So between the 6th and my 10th standard of schooling, I did it in Don Bosco.
Okay.
We were fun kids, so we enjoyed ourselves.
Right.
And when that, that crucial decision that comes when you're in your 9th and 10th, when you have to decide,
what you have to do, what next?
What's your... which course are you going to take in life?
Correct.
It was always meant to be first, as in the
medicine,
maths, physics, chemistry, biology.
Right.
So when maths, physics, chemistry, biology is coming into place, you're already mentally tuned that, okay, you're going to do this.
You
enter that.
Right.
And when you're fine with it, you're fine with it.
Right.
And you never get access to that chartered accountancy, the finance. We never knew what it was. Very true. I had no clue what that word was.
What they were doing, right.
So 9th and 10th happens, and then 11th and 12th happens.
Right.
You score what you need to score. And you go into the next phases of your life.
Correct. And once you've chosen that line, you only have to land up there.
So very honestly, it was not chosen.
Very true.
It was a path that was just followed.
Right.
So to ask that question whether I thought of it then, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It was just a follow through. It was a domino effect of things that had to happen, and it was meant to happen.
Meant to happen, right. Girish, that brings me to my next question. Now see, from a doctor to an successful entrepreneur, it's a extremely bold move. So what I'm sure when you would have thought of this itself, there would have been a lot of fears. So how did you get over this, and what were your initial fears that and thoughts behind you have those doubts whether it will happen, not happen? How did you deal with that?
Well, first, success is very subjective. So you might look at successful, I might still look at, okay, I'm still going very, very further away from my target, but we'll get back to that.
Yes.
Medicine to entrepreneurship was a huge jump. It was caused by chaos. I had a loss in the family. There were multiple scenarios which made me have to go away from a life of absolute entitlement, let's put it that way.
Okay.
Of not having to take over responsibilities to suddenly having to take over a lot of responsibilities, which was overwhelming.
Right.
So the stage of overwhelming and the things that I faced at that particular venture taught me a lot of things. And when that happened, I was at a situation where it was at a crossroads of whether I had to take decisions on my own for myself.
Right.
Or do I listen to somebody else?
Got it.
Or maybe it's just a matter of ego, or is it pride? I don't know the answer to that question, but that was a time when I decided, okay, I will take decisions, right or wrong, for myself.
Right.
And those were decisions I had to take irrespective. It was not choices, it was not paths that I had. So I had to take some decisions because that is how the world works.
Right.
And once I started taking those decisions, a clarity came.
Right.
That clarity determined that if I can take decisions for these kind of scenarios put in front of me, which I don't have a choice for, I need to take those decisions.
Right.
Why can't I take more decisions for myself for things that I do want to do for myself?
Right.
And that was the start of that path of entrepreneurship.
Got it. Okay.
Taking decisions of doing things for myself was the start of that business mentality.
Okay.
And when that started, there was no transition.
Right.
The medicine, the doctor, the education, none of that mattered. It didn't have anything to do with I had to take a choice between whether I wanted to continue this or continue that. I did continue that.
Right.
That was the decision I took. According to me, that time I was only studying. There were exams.
Correct.
There were things that I needed to answer.
Very true.
I take time with that.
Right.
And I also do business decisions. So I started wanting to start my own business, make my own stream of income while I was a student.
Okay.
So it was two parts. It wasn't one. It wasn't either or. And it never is.
But tell me one thing. So you started this while you were studying, right? As you said. So, but obviously, see, that time you're more naive, right? And you are not like, this is not something that you're sure that you're gonna do, but you're doing it, okay, because as you said, there was a situation where you had to take this call. But at that point of time, it wouldn't have been like a concrete thing in your head. I'm sure it would have been, okay, let me give it a try, kind of a thing. But was it like that, or were you very clear at that time itself ki nahi, okay, now this is what I've decided in my head and this is what I'm going to take up now?
Ironically, one of Kevin O'Leary's usual words, cash flow. I was studying and I didn't immediately start a business per se. It always comes to trades and transactions. There were requirements which I was able to fulfill, for which people were able to pay me for.
Okay.
It was as simple as that.
Okay.
I started facing so many things in my personal life which I was in turn able to monopolize.
Okay.
Very simply put, if somebody couldn't find an apartment for themselves and they were a hostelite in my college, I could find them that said apartment.
Achha.
And I took the brokerage commission.
Got it.
It's not overthinking the version of the business. It was something as simple as brokerages, car trades.
Right.
I was studying in a medical college. We had a lot of Telugu students.
Okay.
Kids from Kerala.
Right.
All of them come in from other states. Requiring something locally but did not have access to.
Right.
I was the kid who did that. It was as simple as that. It was not much more.
Okay.
But that got me revenue inside without having to spend 1 rupee of my money. It only required my time.
Correct.
And that taught me a lot of things.
And plus it must have given you immense confidence as well. Something when you try it just like that and if it works,
absolutely,
the elation is at a different level.
Absolutely. And that was the start of it. We didn't immediately start off with big businesses or big projects or requiring anyone to give us assistance or something like that. It was more of connecting. It was more about networking. It was on the ground understanding the importance of being able to socialize with people, network with people and turn it into a money-making
business. Got it. So Girish, now that brings me to my next important question where we are talking about gaming and laser tag. So why laser tag and what pushed you into, coming into this gaming arena?
So that's a very nice question. This laser tag is my longest individual standing business. That's the first thing I would like to start off with.
Okay.
So it's something that I did on my own, started it off on my own and stayed with me for the last 14 years.
Fantastic.
Multiple things were started before that also.
Okay.
So when I first started, we started off with a few, as I told you already, a few things that we did here and there. And then we initially started off in the garment business.
Okay.
Surplus market was a very big thing at that time. It continues to be so now.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was lucky enough to have a classmate of mine who was in the industry and he had a factory. So he had his own surplus. So we started off with having a small showroom of selling that surplus. And none of that was fun. It all made money.
Right.
We were all starting to earn. We were all groups of friends who had a little bit of surplus money. One of my best friends owns one of the largest tattoo studios, the longest standing luxury tattoo studio in the city.
Okay.
So he was the captain of the Indian paintball team.
Okay.
So at that time, paintball was a very big thing for us.
Yes, it was. I think there was one in ECR as well.
That was his.
Oh, okay, cool.
So along with him, there was this ATV ride
Yes,
thing. There was a lot of activities,
yeah.
but nobody knew about them.
Right.
And beaches, theaters, and bars.
I think Chennai has been restricted to only these things for a very long time.
Very bad at that time.
Yeah,
There was literally
Agreed.
only those things.
Yeah.
Even the restaurants weren't that great.
Yeah, I
It
agree.
was very basic, and if it was also, it was very expensive.
Expensive, agreed.
So these three things were the only sources of recreation you
Recreation,
had. And going from that, we were trying to do other things.
Right.
We ourselves wanted fun things to do.
Right.
So we started making them into businesses.
Got it.
So paintball was tried, ATV was tried, Muttukadu, we started jet skis.
Oh,
this is not really long back.
Right.
Then we had problems with the government and we had to shut them down. So we went through a lot of iterations of this.
Right.
At which point of time I was sitting with my friends and I was like, guys, why aren't people coming?
Right.
People were coming, people were having a lot of fun, but it weren't businesses. We were not making enough money to actually take home a profit.
Sustainable for it to be
It
sustainable.
didn't make sense.
Okay.
It was just fun that we were having ourselves.
Right, got it.
So what was the problem? The pain points were very simple. Heat.
Right.
Mess. It gets really messy.
Messy,
Heat and
yes.
sweat is one thing.
Correct.
The second thing is gets really messy. Third thing, girls didn't just want to do any of these.
True, it's messy, right?
Let's be frank, right? We were
Agreed.
a bunch of guys, we were having fun, and every time we called our girlfriends over and asked them to come over, nobody turned up. Like, we're not coming for all these things. You call us for a movie or something, we're coming. We're not coming for all this. It's too dirty.
True.
So those were the pinch points.
Right.
So I wanted to find a solution for those pinch points. And then I remembered I had played a lot of this laser tag myself when I had met my sister in the UK and things like that. It was just a lingering thing. It's not something that was brought back with me.
Right.
But then it kind of served the purpose.
Right.
It was a fun activity. It was completely indoors where I could have kept it air conditioned.
Yes.
And it had enough space and time for you to cool down. You can have an activity. It was a physical sport. It was a recreation.
Exactly. And in Chennai, we always have to keep in mind this climate, yeah. The heat takes a toll on you. You stop enjoying after a point of time anything.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that way, idea-wise, yeah, perfect. Laser tag, yes. I mean, we've been playing here for a while now and it's fantastic. All you guys should definitely come and try this place.
Do.
It's amazing.
You all will, trust me. So that's when I started researching about it and I found out that Bangalore and Mumbai were the only two places in the country which had it at that time. So I went and visited those arenas, tried them out, got to speak to a few people, brought the same concept and idea to Chennai.
Okay.
And we started in Chennai. That's as simple as it is. That was why laser tag started off. So it was also something that I tried off. It was a trial.
Right.
I wanted to see if it worked.
Right.
And nobody had done something like that because it was a 1,500, 2,000 square feet space required at that point of time for something that the landlords would not understand.
Very true.
And which was one of the bigger problems that we faced.
Yeah, and I think when in business, see, because you were into that mindset right from the beginning, and so when you want to try something like that, it's always a try and an error. No business is foolproof that at the beginning you will know, yes, we will hit millions once we are starting into this. So you have to give it a try to know whether it's working or not. So I think, but I think it was an amazing idea and you've been able to sustain for so long is the whole, that goes to show that, how it's been doing really well and people are actually enjoying this whole thing.
There's been a lot of evolution with the whole idea and the concept of how we have presented laser tag to people.
Right.
But then with the evolution, Chennai has also been a wonderful market. People have actually appreciated it. We have a lot of regulars who actually come and enjoy the place. They keep coming back for the experience and for their birthdays and their parties and things like that. So it helps them get that recreation sorted. So what we initially intended with a lot of other trials, this worked. So that's why laser tag.
Okay, cool. Girish, coming to the most interesting question of the podcast, or I'm sure people can also say most controversial question of the podcast. I'm sure when you would have told your family and friends about this, shift from becoming a doctor to being an entrepreneur, there would have been many eyebrows that would have raised and, it would have been, I'm sure you must have got endless free advice. So how was that phase and how did you deal with it and how stronger you came out of this whole societal pressure that you had built, that I'm sure would have built around you?
It's a very good question. So I'm thinking back to quite a bit. So I am recollecting a lot of things that I myself have forgotten, to be very honest. Thank you for the question.
So I'm giving a refresher to you.
Literally. So one of the starting things is obviously my mother, who's been a pillar of support.
Right.
Didn't start off that way, obviously.
Right.
But it was a very quick and a very straightforward transition. It was between her trusting me and her coming to terms with the fact that, okay, I knew what I was doing.
Okay.
So I really don't know what came to the point where she trusted me. Even today, I would not know. I think I had to sit her down with a podcast like this and ask her the same question. But when she did trust me, a lot of the other clutter that came along with it reduced.
Silenced, yeah.
Because when that one person, one pillar of support was there,
true,
everything else kind of faded out.
Right.
There was a lot, as you would say.
Right.
The entire family, there were a lot of people who doubted me, a lot of people who said it was absolutely wrong. Every decision that I was taking is wrong.
Yeah.
It is something that I would regret
later. Yes, exactly.
And future was something I was not looking at that time.
That's an amazing thing. Right.
I was able to handle it.
Right.
I wanted to only look at that day, handling that day's pressures and handling that day's happinesses.
Right.
I was looking at those short dopamine hits that I would be able to get out of taking those decisions and making those choices for my own.
Right.
A lot of them were wrong.
Right.
I would not disagree with the elders. I would not disagree with the family members. I would not disagree with my own college professors for what a lot of things that they would have said. But they were not 100% right.
Correct.
That is the difference.
Very true.
Being able to succeed in those few things that I tried, out of the many things that I tried, was being able to give me that foothold to be able to handle the clutter.
Right.
Handle a lot of people telling me what to. And as I proved myself, as I was able to sustain myself, and as I did not fail and did not ask someone for help, because in the end of it, a lot of times I feel that the reason people say that is also because they are scared that they might have
tomorrow
to help.
you might end up because that fear with relatives, at least it's always there. Oh my God, if this doesn't work tomorrow he's going to come back to me and stand in front of me,
which is very true, right? And I don't disagree with that fear, because that's coming out of a genuine feeling.
Right.
Why would you feel that? You feel that because you would want to help. If tomorrow I do fail, those people who said what I did was wrong actually cared about it.
Right. True.
And that matters.
That matters.
It took me some time to understand that, but once I did understand that, all the words, all the clutter, all of that just goes away.
That happens. In fact, one very beautiful point, Girish, you made that I would actually, also tell a lot of viewers who are watching out there, as he said that, the moment your mom showed that, confidence in you, and the moment she was there for you, everything else automatically settles. A lot of parents these days, when Girish, people come to me for counseling, the bigger issue with the kids and the parents is only this, the disconnect.
Correct.
That, my mom or my dad don't have trust in me, they don't trust what I'm saying, they don't want to do. So sometimes I would want to say, just let your kids try, let them fall, let them stand up again and learn.
True.
But, don't completely dismiss what they're saying, because that builds a bigger gap between the the whole parenting thing and your relationship than anything else can create. And today, of course, when you're successful, the world will come behind you once you're doing great, and they will say, yes, we knew that you would do it, irrespective of whatever they would have thought at that point of time, that it's a bad decision and you shouldn't be doing. But today that you're doing greatly well, it's fantastic. I mean, but do you yourself, sometimes sit back, and does this kind of ever come to you, okay, what if this wouldn't have worked? Does that thought kabhi haunt you?
Always. That is the life of an entrepreneur, right? You always doubt yourself.
Right. True.
If you don't doubt yourself, you're not doing something right.
Because, it's always, I feel, it's this war between being that fixed salaried and getting that money at the end of the day, and, with this uncertainty that what if tomorrow people stop walking in?
Absolutely. And in the end, the difference is what you're more comfortable with.
Right. Very true.
Your salary, irrespective of what you feel, oh my God, I want to be my own man.
Yes.
Or I want to be my own man. Or, oh my God, what happens if I can't be anymore?
Exactly, that fear, that whole idea, right? It's been so much fun having this conversation, Girish. Tell me, from your entrepreneurial journey of so many years, any one incident where where you have felt that strongly made you feel that, yes, good, I took this decision and I did not go up with the regular thing that I was supposed to do?
Of course. It's not one incident, it's multiple incidences. Thinking of one would be very difficult.
Okay.
But in general, every day I'm thankful for what I have decided on.
Okay.
Every day I am. Because very honestly, every opportunity that I have got, not for the lack of trying, because people's mind wavers and that balance always goes apart. Right. And an opportunity where maybe if I have a more stable job, maybe if I am going to be a salaried person, a trial towards that itself has given me a further away from satisfaction, that scale of satisfaction, as anything has.
Okay.
So every day that I decide, okay, this is what I want to do. Yes, it comes with struggles, but this is my happiness. This is my space.
Right.
Being an entrepreneur is what works for me.
Right.
And in particular, when it works is when things like this happen. For example, today you've asked to have a blog. Why? because I know that I've been able to do this.
Yes.
It's going to be very difficult for you to also ask me if I don't do this, right?
Correct.
So this also is one of those incidences.
Right. Cool. It's, sometimes very nice, and when we work as on our own, ask me, even I've been into business for a very long time. My dad was like, it's like a family thing as it used to come. And every day when you're able, as you rightly said, when you're able to make people smile, at the end of the day, that is all that matters. And at the end of the day, you feel, yes, you're doing something right somewhere.
Absolutely.
Now, I would want to wrap up with my last question to you, Girish. I'm sure people who are watching are, very happy, or I don't know whether they'll be happy or surprised or different, but yes, my question to you is, what would be that one advice that you would like to give all the people out there who are probably stuck in a very traditional path of what has been given to them, if not chosen, and, to move out, to break through that and do what your heart, where your heart is?
So it'll not be one advice, it'll be 3 points. And these are 3 things that I usually tell all my, anyone who's looking into going into a world of entrepreneurship.
Right.
Or stepping away from the norm.
Right.
The first thing is clarity.
Perfect.
The first point is clarity. You have to be absolutely certain of what it is that makes you feel good.
Correct.
What it is that you're going towards. Because till you're wavering, don't step out of the path you already know.
Right.
First point is clarity. Second point is patience.
Agreed.
You need to have the patience to be able to be clear on what you want and to be able to reach that clarity. It will take time. Even with the absolute clarity,
very true,
reaching that point that you're thinking of might never happen.
Correct.
But the patience to know that you're always working towards that point is what helps you.
And not giving up also, because I think somewhere when you fall on patience is where you end up giving up.
So you give up on patience, you give up on everything.
Exactly.
And the third thing is, never look down upon your peers. You
Fantastic
need
point.
people.
Yes.
You need advices.
Yes.
You do not know everything.
Yes.
Everything comes with an experience. Right. Everything is experience. So having good people around you, surrounding yourself with good advices is something you always need.
Right.
So anything towards your clarity, what you need to know, you need to be able to acknowledge it with people in your peers. Your network, your society, your people that you trust.
Right.
So these are the three main points that I would like to tell you. And if those 3 happen and you are lucky enough to have those, go for it.
Go for it. Very true. In fact, one very beautiful point Girish has made here is that I would like to, reiterate to a lot of people out there is about, having people around you. That's the biggest thing. A lot of them, once they start climbing up, they don't acknowledge, they want to leave that thing behind, and because at that time when they are at the high, they don't think of it, and then once you are at that, when you hit that low is when you realize that, okay, I need people back home. So this is a very important point, guys. Make sure wherever, however you are, you might even become the next Ambani tomorrow, but the point is, at the end of it all, you'll need your people. So yes, that is a beautiful point that you made, and yes, as he rightly said, that all his 3 points put together, that tinge of luck, and then things can definitely roll for you.
Absolutely.
But not doing anything is definitely not going to happen. So yes, Girish, it was a fantastic talk. I really enjoyed myself, and connecting with you, knowing a very different perspective, breaking that norm and doing what you want to do, and so boldly being out there, and you've done a phenomenal job, and I think you're doing great. Just to tell you, as I already mentioned, this place, now they've opened up in Ananaga because they shut the Nungambakam outlet. This is a fab place, huge, big one. I can just take you around and show you a video of this space. And you can come here. There's no age to this. If you're 4 years, 5 years, you can come. If you're 30, 40, 60, any age, you just come, experience this space. You will have a really good time. It's a fantastic gaming place to be. I'm not a gaming person, guys, at all. But after visiting here, I was very happy and I really enjoyed. So do walk in to experience yourself and know how it works. And thank you so much, Girish. It was fun. Thank you. By far, it's been one of the most interesting conversations that I've had on my podcast so far. Well, I'm sure all of you will agree with this. The journey of, going from a medical student to a successful entrepreneur is not easy. The ups, downs, highs, lows, he's seen all of them and come out shining. Well, do let me know in the comment section how you liked the podcast, what was the most interesting bit that you liked, and what was the takeaway that you had from this. Do let me know what more you would want to see on my podcast. Until then, it's me, Neha, saying bye. Bye.